Hello, my name is Jacqueline Pollauf, and today I wanted to share a quick practicing tip about practicing muffles within pieces. Now, a common progression that many students follow is that when they first start playing, they muffle at the end of a piece. So they might play their final chord and then do a muffle or a dampen like this to stop the sound of the strings and finish off their piece. And then gradually, as the music becomes more complicated, there might be times where they want to muffle within the middle of a piece, maybe at the end of a passage with both hands, or maybe just the left hand down low while the other hand is playing. And sometimes this is something that the composer has marked in with the muffle symbol, and other times it's something that the student or teacher might choose to add. And what happens most frequently is that students are aware that they're going to be adding this muffle, and they have it there marked clearly in their music, and then as they're playing along, they just forget to do it. And then you discuss it with them, and then they forget all over again. It's very common. So a great thing to do is to specifically practice these muffles, which is a little bit strange because muffling stops the sound rather than adding the sound, so it can feel a little bit odd to be practicing something like that specifically. For an example piece here, I have El Numero Uno by Jane Weidensaul, and she has several different muffles marked in throughout the piece, and I'm going to use one about 3/4 of the way through the piece. There's this passage of chords, and then at the end of it, the final chord has a fermata, and there's a low muffle before going on to the next measure. So I think the way to practice this is to practice up to the muffle. Go ahead and execute the muffle and then stop playing. Do not go on. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate that. I'm going to start just a couple measures before. And then the muffle, and then that would be it. So we're just taking a very short passage and we're making the muffle the final thing. Those are the two things you really want to do in practicing. And then you could do that several times and see if you can feel really comfortable about the muffle and look at the angle of the hand and see if you're stopping the sound and all of those things. And then what you could do is you could add on just a tiny bit after the muffle. So I'm going to start in the same spot, but I'm just going to add on the downbeat of the next measure after the muffle. And that would be it. So that way the muffle is still really prominent in practicing the small section. It's its own event, a physical thing that's happening with the hand, and then we just have a tiny bit more after it, so that way the attention can really stay focused on the muffle. And then after that, you could extend a little further, adding on maybe the entire measure that follows the muffle. And from there, I would just keep expanding out and maybe starting back a few measures even sooner and going a little bit past the muffle and so on. But every time trying to really focus on it and make sure that it happens consistently and smoothly. So this idea of isolating muffles and making them an event in practicing is a great approach to make sure that you don't forget the muffle in the middle of the piece. Good luck to you in your practicing.